From a radio studio on Long Island, New York, come two die-hard fans of the greatest rock and roll band hailing from Hollywood, California. Dissecting all things Guns N' Roses and anything else in their distorted minds, it's Brando and Scotto.
'Cause you know what the fuck you are!
And this is Appetite for Distortion.
Try it again!
You done scratching your neck?
Yes.
The mic's picking it up. And welcome to the podcast. I wonder, should I leave that on? No. Welcome to the podcast, Appetite for Distortion. My name is Brando, and with me, continuing with me, of course, into the new year, is my partner in perfect crime, Scotto, Ian.
Yeah.
What's going on, Hot Pants?
Nothing. I actually just recorded like 2 hours for Soft Rep Radio, where I, of course, plugged Appetite for Distortion at the very end. I was like, go on iTunes.
Cross-plugging your podcast.
Go look up Appetite for Distortion. Oh, always.
Which sounds weird.
Being shamelessly plugging. So I was kind of tired, and then I got here to iHeartRadio, and I chugged down this coffee, which, I wish was Charlie Benante's coffee, because I want to try Charlie Benante's coffee. But I was reminded of the song Milk by SOD, Charlie Benante's other group, because I made this hot coffee here in the little break room, and there was no milk. And so it's like that SOD song where it's, I wish I had some goddamn milk. My Cheerios just ain't the same. So it reminded me of one of our guests, Charlie Benante, because the whole song is, I want some milk. My coffee goes cold.
That's a good
I want some milk. I should have been told. Because SOD had these like funny songs that were like hardcore and metal and just silly and stupid. Yeah, and Deftones actually covered it really earlier in their career, so that was what this reminded me of. But the point being, I'm fueled, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to talk Appetite for Distortion, Estranged, and also November Rain, which are going to be our topics. And you know what's crazy? I feel like the universe wanted me to talk about this, because as I'm on the subway going to iHeartRadio, I have my iPod, I have my little iPod, which I like, on random, and I had no plans on listening to Estranged before this, because I've listened to it a million times. I know enough to say, but it came on randomly, and when that song comes on, you have to listen to the whole song. You don't skip that song.
Yeah, it's one of those songs that you got to get emotionally ready for, and I think that's what makes this kind of a good episode, because you want to talk about doing another show with just us. We have plenty of people on the docket as far as we want to interview, but we're still a very young podcast, and we really appreciate all the new friends that we've made. I mean, this is only our 13th episode, and as this is the very first show and first day as we record this on the 1st of January, 2017, a lot of New Year's resolutions, a lot of feelings you're leaving behind, what feelings you're looking forward to. So those two songs, I believe, because November Rain is my favorite. Is Estranged your favorite?
Yeah, I'd say Estranged.
So I just think that it's an appropriate way.
But they're like my two favorite, I think.
Sophie's Choice for you?
Yeah, those are, and also You Could Be Mine. It's fun. You know what? I didn't think of this, but my favorite Guns N' Roses albums would actually be Appetite for Destruction and Chinese Democracy. I love them both. I mean, Appetite for Destruction would be number one, but my favorite songs by Guns N' Roses are on the Use Your Illusion albums. You Could Be Mine, November Rain, and Estranged. But to me, they just have some filler. I know we've debated this before. You don't think there's any filler? Even My World, a little bit of filler.
No, that was what I was going to say. That and the Don't Cry alternate.
Yes, yeah. I always hate.
I skip that.
Yeah, I have them on my iPod and stuff.
It's like I know this song, but it's not this song.
Yeah, and every time it comes on, it's those alternate lyrics. Like you can't. It's not the same. You can't really get into it, man.
I wonder why he did that. I'm sure he must have explained at some point.
I guess they have alternate meanings, and it is I mean, I could listen to it again. It's still good. But, there's the definitive version is the one in the music video.
Sure. And we're going to get into, I mean, it may go into Don't Cry. It may go into all these different, because we got some clips that we want to play about November Rain and Estranged, interviews with Axl and Slash throughout the years. And there is one thing that they did talk about, because it was, I guess, filmed for making the videos. I mean, I haven't seen it for a while, but as I'm perusing YouTube for clips to play for us, of course, YouTube isn't exactly the most precise of like this came from this time and lack of editing or too much editing. So as we play these clips throughout the show, if you're like, oh, I remember it from this so and so,
I remember.
I remember. Oh, I got to add that to the soundboard.
Oh yeah,
my little.
It would definitely be used.
Savage animal.
You know what's funny? Now every time I'm around like a group of little kids, I think.
Oh God, how often you
member berries?
How often are you around a group of little kids?
I'm talking. Yeah. How dare you, sir? Talking about it on the train or something, and there's these little kids who just, are talking. I think member berries. Like they sound like member berries. Little kids sound like
member.
Yeah. It's, you know what?
From South Park.
I'll probably get, someone will be offended by this, but there was actually this girl I'm friends with, on Facebook who's a comedian, and she apparently works among like a lot of little Asian kids. She's like little Asian kids selling member berries. Kind of do.
That's so messed up. So I want to ask, how was your New Year's, by the way? Because I saw some video of you last night on social media playing some Nintendo 64.
Yeah, and dancing to Stitches. And it was, I invited two of my friends over. My good friends are like my friends from way back in the day. I've known both of these guys since like third grade.
You didn't want to go out because we are, in New York City, where a lot of people come to. Yeah, I'm not.
And also, I'm on Long Island, as are you, so I'm not going in the city when I have to come back here.
But that's the big thing.
And tomorrow, and
But that's the big thing. There are people listening to us literally from around the world. Where New York City, Dick Clark, rest in peace. His Rockin' Eve is still going on with Carson Daly.
No, with Ryan Seacrest, right?
It was Carson Daly last night.
I saw Ryan Seacrest. I even think it's called Dick Clark's Rockin' Eve with Ryan Seacrest.
Whatever I was watching, it was Carson Daly and Mel B.
Yeah, that was a different one, I think.
I really don't care.
No.
I mean,
hey, you brought it up, but no, I did not go out. I played some N64, and we watched some original Ninja Turtles cartoon.
Nice.
So we watched, like season 2 of Ninja Turtles. We watched like 3 episodes of that. And it's funny because I was saying to them, like, this is what I'd be doing when if I was a little kid. I still do the same stuff. And
me too.
Ordered Domino's. I went a little crazy. I had 1 beer. Oh my God. That's what I did. What did you do?
You animal. I was actually a few studios down from where we're recording here in the iHeartRadio theater or hub. The theater's downstairs where Z100 is, the world famous radio station, and KTU and WOR, a bunch of different New York radio stations. But one of the things that I do for iHeart is when there are out-of-town hosts that come in and they want to use our New York facilities, I kind of like babysit them and make sure everything's connected and so forth. So Chris Broussard, you might remember his name from ESPN. Now he's with Fox Sports. So I had to come here last night, and his show was from 8 to 11. I watched some foreign horror movies on Netflix and just on the internet, and I went home and I managed to get a few minutes before the ball dropped, and that's when I watched at least what I remember being Carson Daly. Okay. But I didn't care. But you see all these videos, of course, Slash and Duff, they tweeted a Happy New Year, and I'm kind of keeping tabs of, because I'm curious of how these people spend their New Year's. Now I'm sure it's all about their family, but for me, I didn't care. A few blocks away is Times Square.
It's all about the family for Duff and Slash. I still picture Axel like going out and partying.
He does. I mean, we've seen pictures. I mean, I don't know if that's all he does.
But on New Year's Eve, if I had to guess, I bet you Axel was, a little inebriated, having fun. That'd be my guess.
I guess so. But everybody was looking forward to not necessarily the plans of New Year's, but the fact that this year was ending. I think that's the big thing, and I think that's going to be the jumping off point for this episode.
Yeah, because
this was supposedly the worst year ever since the dinosaurs or Jesus died.
And it's all because Donald Trump, because of celebrity deaths. But if you're a Guns N' Roses fan, you can't say this year was so bad because we got to see the return of the Guns N' Roses, the 3 guys that, are now a part of this band. So I don't think you could say this was a bad year. And I actually talked about this on Soft Rep with Drew before I got here. I don't think that like who the president is or the celebrity deaths of people that you didn't know, even if they affect your life, like that should not make a bad year. Like a bad year is like a parent dying or,
Well, if one of the celebrities was your family.
Yeah.
I mean, I get that part of it.
But it shouldn't make it a bad year. Like, my year consists of what I did for work. Like, to me, a big part of this year was starting this podcast with you, or this last year. Or, you know, like, to me, that's my year. Guns N' Roses reuniting, actually, I would say is a big part of my year.
It was a huge part. What I love about, and this relates to Facebook, and I forgot to send it to you, but if you're on Facebook, I mean, most people are, it has on this day X amount of years ago that you posted this, and it was something, I believe, it was only a couple days ago, so I'm assuming it was from December of last year, that we're kind of putting messages on each other's wall of what do you want, little clues, these little blues clues of this reunion. I think it's going to happen. And just looking at these clips that we were sending to each other, that like, oh my God, is this going to happen? Is that going to happen? And here we are. Yeah. So as a Guns N' Roses fan, as you know, podcast radio fan, this year has gone well. I think it was just a depressing year where a lot of these idols are now, you know, dying. You know, Duff is out there and he's got the Prince logo on his bass. He's been rocking that. And I think it just put things in perspective in a unique way, where I think it had been said for a while before GNR got back together. They are all alive, so you need to do this now. And now you're seeing these people die that are close to their age. I mean, George Michael was 53. I mean, Axl's what? He's also in his early 50s. I mean, that's kind of scary. That's what I would think. I wasn't trying to be morbid about it. But I'm like, what if Axl Rose died? Yeah. I mean, I'm a big Prince fan. You know, I like George Michael. My mom would always tell me the story when I was 2 years old, jumping up and down in the bed. To wake me up before you go. That was like apparently one of my first rock out moments was the Wham. That says a lot about me, I guess. But I'm like, what if Axl Rose died? I never met him, but would that affect me the way that some of these other deaths?
Oh, way more.
Like, you know, Carrie Fisher. I mean, I've never seen Star Wars. Yeah, I know. But I remember her.
Wait, you're being serious?
100%.
Oh, wow.
I've never seen Star Wars.
And I picture, because you even...
Because I'm a nerd?
No, you're like a self-identifying nerd. You know what I mean? You call yourself a nerd sometimes. And it's like, well, really? You're a nerd and you haven't watched Star Wars?
Just like with religion and political affiliations, I don't subscribe to everything underneath the label.
But to never see it, I've seen it and I'm not a nerd.
It just never happened. It's like it's like how a virgin would answer that question, but except that the virgin usually sees Star Wars. It just never happened. I've never seen Star Wars. But I do remember her very wonderful appearance in Drop Dead Fred.
Okay.
If you remember
and I know you love that movie.
I love Drop Dead Fred.
The mega bitch!
So it's like, what effect would that have? That's why I'm so glad to see Steven alive.
Yeah.
Alive, of course, but seemingly doing well.
It's also important to see these bands live and like, if you haven't caught any date on any leg of this tour, like, go do it. You know me, I'm a podcast fanatic, and I was listening to Jamie Josta from Hatebreed. I love his podcast. Talk about he was saying how like these big headline festivals, there's always that band from like the 70s, sometimes in the 80s. He's like Iron Maiden, and you know, and then if you look at the later bands, Megadeth, Metallica, and he was saying how it's crazy to think there's going to be a time not too far from now where Iron Maiden's no longer going to tour, and then Metallica's no longer going to tour. And like, if you have kids, you know, and if you get married, have kids, and all, it's very likely you won't be able to see Kiss or Iron Maiden or Judas Priest with them, and like these. And it's also that whole discussion of who is the next generation that could headline these things, because these festivals are headlined by older bands usually, and so just see these bands while you can, because you don't know how long you're going to have. Not even if they die. Like, it's very possible Guns N' Roses will finish out another few legs of this tour and be like, all right, calling it quits now. Made a lot of money, moving on to other stuff. We can make a lot off merchandising.
I hope
you never
not.
know. No, I hope not as well. I don't even know if I'm seeing anything on this leg, but like, it was very important to me that I saw Axl and Slash together, and
I had to.
Yeah, and if they're playing, you know, anywhere near me again, I will be there. So,
and I think that's what we're trying to do as we get rid of this, what many feel, I guess not us, that 2016 was the worst year. It was a very weird year. Yeah. Can we agree on that?
Oh, yeah. Very. In terms of pop culture, yeah.
Sure. Is to kind of navigate our emotion and our connection to pop culture, which Guns N' Roses, of course, falls into.
And I know that, like, you know, Rob Kardashian and Black China deeply affected you.
I don't like. Why? I feel like the first time I heard those names, I'm like, are these Pokemon? I don't know who these. I know you're into this. I know you're
into it. I don't know.
Your girl Mariah had a meltdown yesterday.
Oh yeah,
because you left last episode by. I got to watch Mariah's World.
Yeah, it's good.
And it made me just think though, watching it and knowing that we were going to do the podcast today, that her supposed meltdown. If you haven't seen it, there was lip syncing issues, and you know she just stopped giving it a crap and threw a little hissy fit.
Even though, to be fair, from what I know, it was backing track. Like it was a heavy backing track, but she does sing live, and her mic was still on.
Yeah.
So like she was going to sing over the track.
Right, and it just got me thinking. What about Axl? You know his rants. What would have happened?
Yeah.
You know,
man.
it's just.
But he would never lip sync.
No.
Or lip sync, and if they have backing track, which I don't know everything they do, but if they do, it's very light. It's not you know backing track like that where it's the whole thing. That's actually why they have Melissa Reese in the band, and they have Dizzy Reed doing some backup vocals, and even Duff, like because Axl kind of needs that.
I know, and I think that's the uniqueness of the world that we're in now, and that's why I want 2017 going forward. And I'm glad that a band like Guns N' Roses comes back in, a band that plays live.
Yeah,
because so much, and the people who are dying are just like a lost art. How many album or instruments did Prince play?
Oh my
God, or you know, or the importance of Glenn Frey. You know, these people don't exist today. You're a little bit more hip to today's music, Ian, than I am, and that doesn't exist today, and that bothers me.
Yeah.
So I mean, as we transition into the new year, new beginnings, you know, or at least as I say, yes, and I have to bring it up again, Jew year, Jew me.
Sup, Jew?
Sorry, I just want to use that clip because that's how everyone feels, and I'm like, it's just another day. I want to continue living my life and continue upward and forward momentum, but it just gets to me. You can't help but reflect, and it helps me reflect on. You know, the Guns N' Roses and November Rain specifically.
Yeah.
Because that was a song
it's a good transition here.
That helped me. I mean, we seem like we're not focused, but there's a method to our madness.
This podcast, for those who haven't noticed, is very ADD.
Oh, there's a method to our madness. And I was thinking about this, you know, because you mentioned your iPod earlier.
Yeah.
And in just these few years and into 2017 where we're at right now, the ways to listen to music is so different. The way to listen to radio shows is so different with podcasts. I strictly remember sitting in my college dorm room using, you remember the Winamp programs?
Yeah.
Kind of like a smaller iTunes, which would be just more of like a playlist. And you could pick your skins.
Yeah.
Like you're kind of like your wallpaper to the Winamp. And I would always pick like Use Your Illusion because I always loved that. The artistry of it. Of course, I know it's a famous painting, the School of Athens, but I just love the colors that they added to it. So I'd always use that as a skin. And for whatever reason, before I really got into Guns N' Roses, and I believe we spoke about this in the very first episode, that I had I actually had a couple ex-girlfriends that were really into GNR. So it's weird how that worked out. It's not like I went searching. There's no, GNR dating peoplemeet.com. Maybe they're
not a bad idea.
Yeah, it is not. Maybe not. But November Rain stuck out for me for whatever reason, and a lot of it had to do with the video. And I found some clips, and I want to play this for you because I guess this will be my jumping off point why November Rain is important to me. And of course, we'll go with Estranged, and we'll play clips from Axl and Slash. And this is kind of where I think we want to go as people, what goals we have for 2017 going forward. We also want to hear meaning whoever's listening, assuming you're listening. We see you. We count on SoundCloud. The hundreds and hundreds of people listening. We really appreciate it.
Thousands for the Savannah episode.
Yeah, but we want to hear what you want going forward from yourself and from the show. So we want that back and forth. So I think this has a lot about Axl. This one clip I'm going to play. It's from the Welcome to the Videos era. I don't know if it's on the clip. As I mentioned before, YouTube not exactly the most trustworthy with their descriptions, but I digress.
The reason it says 1990.
Oh, I should probably say he starts off by saying that is because the tombstone, November Rain video says 1990, and he explains it from there.
The reason it says 1990 is because
On the tombstone.
1990 was a very suicidal year. Some things were really good, and then with with marriage not working and stuff like that, it just made me realize all kinds of things haven't ever really worked, you know, and I got to get through it and figure out why so many things continually go wrong.
You know, for me, it's the first time I've actually ever heard that clip, and I can't believe how much I identify with it. Knowing that I already identify with November Rain, I really wasn't sure why growing up. And, you know, I've talked about it on the air before in therapy and depression. I've only gone into it so much, but I think it's only fair that these guys put out their emotions to us, the fans. So there's a reason, and there's a reason why they're so popular. And in addition to the music, is, of course, is sounding great, but people identifying to the lyrics. So growing up, you know, I leaned more towards heavy rock, and it's of course a ballad. And to me, it's not a ballad like I Remember You, or you know, you don't know what you got till it's gone, or Cinderella. I mean, those are great songs, but there's something different to it. There's an anger to it. Yeah. There's an epicness to it.
A lot of those 80s ballads I'll say, like, I love, but there's almost a cheesy factor to them. Not so much I Remember You, actually, but, like, don't know what you got till it's gone. Every rose has its thorn.
Yeah.
It's almost like... those songs, I don't...
They're too formulaic of a ballad. Here, feel emotion from us hard rockers.
Yeah, like, I don't feel introspective when I listen to those songs.
Not at all.
But you do when you listen to November Rain, so I get where you're coming from.
It's from the beginning to the end, the raindrop, to the video, watching all of that. We also have clips talking about the Estranged video, things that I didn't even know. But for me, I don't think I realized my own depression. Actually, clearly realized it at a young age. Like when you listen to him talk, he's very intelligent. He's always been very intelligent. That I don't think I realized that I had depression until maybe my early 20s, mid to early 20s. You know, I knew that my dad had suffered from it, and my dad's side had suffered from it, and I didn't know why. Typical teenage stuff. This girl doesn't like me. I'm not doing well in school. Like stupid bullshit email things like that. Because I was definitely, as you're going through your list, you were surprised Estranged came up. For me, on my Pandora, while I'm picking channels and artists, it's just like, oh, I remember listening to New Found Glory. I love
New Found Glory.
I know, but I mean, I did, but now listening to it, it's just like, whoa, I was in a different place. I'm not. Girls are evil. I got to go to Hot Topic.
I love those songs.
I do still, but I don't have the same emotional connection.
Sure.
So when I hear that, it's like, holy crap! Like, is Axl still going through that? Like, I had no idea he was suicidal, and I've never made just to be completely blunt about it, I've never attempted.
Yeah.
But I've lived in that, like, I don't want to be here. Like, I just don't. And it's not the, a lot of times when you see people post and
I've had it before too, man.
I cry for help.
Yeah.
But there's a difference for me where people complain on the social media and it's just, it's just you want someone to pay attention to you. And there's real legitimate depression, which is why people, I think, identify with Axl and Guns. It's real. It's legitimate.
Yeah.
And it's very peculiar that I identified with the song so much, not realizing how much it has to do with suicide and trying to come out of it. You know, what you want, I can play another clip that he really explains the difference between November Rain and Estranged, and you can jump off of that part of it.
November Rain is a song about not wanting to be in a state of having to deal with unrequited love.
And I felt that way. From the world.
Estranged is acknowledging it.
I like his pauses.
And being there. And having to figure out what the fuck to do. It's like being catapulted out into the universe and having no choice about it. And having to figure out what the fuck are you gonna do? Because the things you wanted and worked for just cannot happen. And there's nothing you can fucking do about it.
I'm just going to say, before you jump off, I was November Rain. I still am to a degree, but that's where I am now. I'm at Estranged. That's where I am in my life as I'm 33. So it's just very interesting how it plays out.
That's the first time I ever heard that clip of him talking about the songs. And the thing about those songs is both of them, they have certain lines that I love, certain lines I identify with, but I I never really knew, and I still don't feel like I know the entire meaning of those songs because they're so deep. There's like so many layers to them. And sometimes it doesn't even matter what the full meaning of the song is because everybody interprets their own meaning to things. Like there's so many Deftones are my other favorite band, and I'm being ADD
I was just listening to some White Pony on the way over.
I love that album. So, but there's certain songs where you can't even make out certain words Chino is saying unless you read them. But it doesn't even matter to me. It's the way that he sings them. And it's so. Estranged, there's certain lines in there where he's like young at heart, but I'm only 28. I mean old at heart, but I'm only 28. But when I hear that line, I think of, because I'm just, I'm 30, and I remember listening to that song when I was 28. I'm always listening to that song, and it's like, man, this is where Axl was at this period of time. And it's also that he wrote these songs, and he solely wrote these two songs at what he says is like a depressing point in his life, and they had to have been to write these songs. They're not fun songs, yet these were written. At least they came out during when Guns N' Roses were at the height of their fame, and so it leads to that thing of I think we've even talked about it on the podcast where people were like, "How could Robin Williams kill himself? Like he's got, he was." So famous and so beloved and so funny, and he had it all going for him. And it's like, it goes back to that thing of, but if you suffer from depression, none of that fucking matters.
You don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, knowing that, and this will be, it pertains, and I want to get to a point with this podcast that we're honest, the listeners are honest, because this is honest music. The first time I mentioned it, because there's really no other forum where it was appropriate, but that's what my father... Also, is it succumb or succumb, by the way, to make a very morbid story funny at first? What's the appropriate word? Succumb or succumb? When you succumb to something?
I think.
All right. Well, clearly, we're both products of the American education system. But my dad, he suffered from depression, and unfortunately, for lack of a better word, that was his demise.
Yeah,
was depression. So, and it was about, I don't know, a couple months later. That's when Robin Williams happened, and even before what eventually happened to my dad and Robin Williams, and how we're really putting it out there with mental health. And I think we spoke about. We might have even brought up Kanye West the last episode and talking about, how his latest freak out is something that was triggered by him losing his mom.
And dude, I'm sorry to interrupt you here, but actually, I end up picking up albums or just listening to albums at random times, because the new Kanye came out basically like a year ago or months ago, earlier on in the year, and I've listened to that new, Life of Pablo album. And it has a lot of introspective stuff on there. Like he has a song called FML, Fuck My Life, and it's got a lot of those same vibes. I think a lot of great artists have depression. They have all these crazy thoughts, but back to what you were saying.
Well, maybe he gets it out in his music because I don't listen to his music. Yeah. And whenever I see him speak or tweet, it's nonsense. I just want to be completely dismissive. And that's what put me in check at that point where I'm hating this guy. I'm like, wait a minute, he's a real person too.
Yeah.
And you see a lot of that. We've spoken about that with internet trolls, especially when Guns N' Roses, when Axl brought out that Donald Trump pinata in Mexico City, and just looking at the GNR. It wasn't even one of the forums that we follow. It wasn't my GNR forum. Wasn't on that GNR fan spot, I believe, on Facebook. It was just their main Facebook page, and just the hate on there and the spew. And usually when people hate on Axl, they put an E in there somewhere. Oh, that just grinds my gears so much. I get so mad. I don't know. But that's what I try to take in, and that's why I defended Axl for so long, just knowing, because I have a lot of stuff. Even before I knew what a lot of that stuff was.
Yeah.
I don't know what he's doing. Like, was he spending 10 years of his life, or 17 or whatever, all of it making Chinese democracy? Or is there a lot of other stuff going on?
Yeah,
I can't imagine he was in the studio every single day.
No, yeah.
I just can't imagine that.
Also, you have to live life to write those lyrics. Like, putting out great songs is a product of your experiences and writing about those experiences. If you're in the studio, you're not going to have anything to write about. If that was all you were doing.
That's what blew me away when I eventually digested Chinese democracy, and I think that's the appropriate word. It took me 3 listens. I'll never forget the first time I heard that, the opening, the Spanish guitars of If the World.
Yeah.
And it's like falsetto and a porno music beat. And I literally said out loud, what the fuck is this?
See, I didn't feel that way about that album. I love that album from the very beginning.
But now, from the beginning, now I love it. You know, Scraped, I can live without Riyadh and the Bedouins, and I know that's part of our intro.
I love every song. I really do. I love.
Well, why don't you marry them?
Be more funny.
All right.
They're not on Winners, folks.
So actually, if we could get back to you know, these songs from Use Your Illusion, both the albums, Estranged and November Rain. What made me think of this is actually how just everybody gravitates towards those videos. And you look up the list of the most expensive videos of all time, and Estranged and November Rain are both still on there. And there's no one, even if you're not a Guns N' Roses fan, who doesn't like these videos or love these videos. And the crazy examples that I had recently, where I work at Sirius XM, and Usher, of all people, was in the Shade 45 studio, and they usually have it's now MTV Classic, but VH1 Classic up on there.
Yeah, I remember that was a great channel, and now they play reruns of The Hills.
So while Usher was in there being interviewed, up on the big screen in the Shade 45 studio, you know, big rap channel, is Estranged, the video for Estranged. And I notice everybody's watching it and into it, and I even hear some people outside the studio being like, yo, you remember this video? You remember Axl, you know, going into the ocean and everything? And then actually the other day, I'm leaving my house, my apartment, and I will say this fully disclosed. Don't do anything about it. But so next, well, you'll hear where I'm coming from. The house next to me is, I'm pretty damn sure, full of illegal immigrants, and they're watching TV. And I see the Estranged video on. And it's not like they're flipping through the channels. Like, they're into this video. And, like, I think all walks of life, if this video is on, you don't turn it off. Because it's just so over the top in how much they spent on both these videos.
Well, they got a lot of flack for the Estranged because of the Dolphins. And this is a real departure from the nitty-gritty, dirty band that they were. And
it's such a focus on Axl. It's such a focus on this one guy.
Well, do you want to, let's play this, it's a little bit longer clip about Axl talking about that video. And something he mentions towards the end, which as another look into this this man that we call Axl Rose.
I don't necessarily know of anyone who's made a video like this, you know, showing, you know, their own emotional destruction and their process of transcending that. That's another thing about this video. It's also communication with Dylan. It's someone that I'm not allowed to communicate with, and someone who feels that I abandoned him, and I didn't. I was told one thing and shown another, and you know, Dylan is robbed of certain things that he likes, and I am also, and just trying to transcend that and deal with that, and so making a video of like what's really going on and trying to show it.
I know a lot of the big Guns N' Roses fans know who Dylan is. It took me.
I didn't, to be honest.
I didn't either. I thought maybe he was a big 90210 fan. You like that one?
Yes.
Huh?
That's so funny. The last time I heard that, I laughed so hard I fell off my dinosaurs.
I added more clips.
Step Brothers?
Yes. Yeah. So Dylan is Stephanie Seymour's son. And, of course, that was his ex-wife, and that was the woman in the November Rain video. And I had no idea he felt so much pain over somebody that was going to be his stepson. And I keep thinking, like, this is somebody who just wanted a family, who came up in this really destructive family. And, I mean, of course, you hear all the rumors about spousal abuse, what's true, what's not true. But whatever it is, this is somebody who developed love for somebody that was not even his child. And I didn't even know that. He goes on to explain in that clip how if that scene in the kid's bedroom in Estranged was a mock of Dylan's bedroom. So it's interesting how he's using that video to communicate to this kid. I mean, that's just like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, how often does that happen even today? The video, like, what purpose are videos made with today other than just promotion?
Yeah.
I mean, that's other than, and this is why I like her so much, and that's Lady Gaga. She seems to really have a good message and a real vision with every video. Yes, there are parts where she bathes herself in Cheerios and milk, which is probably no rhyme or reason other than the fact that she has an awesome body.
Oh, hell yeah.
You need to be all right. You gonna be all right?
Going.
I had fun. What do you want from me? I added some new toys for these past few episodes. So that, I think, as I mentioned, went through a November Rain period of my life where, and that was a long period. I mean, so that's something you deal with every day, mental health issues.
Yeah.
But I'd like to think I got through the darkest times of it. But now with Estranged, it's like, okay, I'm aware of it. What's going on? And it's interesting he's communicating his message through music. And what do the songs on Chinese Democracy mean? Like when they started touring, when they started playing Sorry shows here and there, it's like, didn't we think that was about Slash? So
Yeah.
I want to know the meanings to these songs. And I think that's where we're at now, is to see where 2017, we know it's going to be another year of Guns N' Roses, which I can't believe that we're saying. But I want to know what else is going to come out. I want to know the meaning behind Prostitute, because I look at that more so than This I Love. I mean, maybe it is This I Love with the lyrics, because it seems like he really is talking about Stephanie or someone. But Prostitute, that opus at the end of it.
I love that song too, and that's another epic.
I wish they could play that. I wish have they played it live? If they have, I haven't seen it.
I think they did in Vegas. I think they did once in Vegas before the reunion.
Okay.
I believe.
All right, because
Once or twice, yeah.
So those are the meanings. I want to know the evolution, because I think that's where a lot of people have been surprised by Axl, where if you look at what happened last night as we're recording this with Mariah Carey, she's had this diva quality always about her,
Yeah.
and she didn't let down last night. I mean, in the end, who gives a shit? And that's what it is. I mean, you know who doesn't care about Mariah Carey? The kids in Africa with AIDS. I mean, it's all about priorities. But with Axl, it's like something changed. What changed? And
You notice all the epic songs, though, like the songs that you're like, man, that is epic. They're written by Axl. Like those two songs in particular, and then Prostitute. Like he writes the epic songs, and I always argue that Axl is the most important ingredient to this group. Obviously, I mean, he toured without the other guys as Guns N' Roses and made it work. I think he made it work.
Well, he made it work musically. I mean, Chinese Democracy was a success, but not to what people perceived or
Sure.
they thought it should be, given the amount of time that it took.
Look, I can only judge with my own ears, and I love it.
You got to take, compartmentalize it and step back and be like, what did this do other than my personal feelings?
Yeah.
We also, not just to our Guns N' Roses nerd listeners, we want to identify with everybody.
Yeah.
Because everyone knows a Guns N' Roses song. Everybody knows who Guns N' Roses is. And everyone has these emotions. And that's what's been very difficult for me, because you're into a lot of the newer bands than I am. More of them.
Not so
or more
much, though.
genres?
I mean, you know me. More genres, I guess. But I love 80s hair metal. That's my favorite stuff. And I'm not that up on new rock or even new hip hop, because you hear me talk about Kanye West, but he's been around a long time at this point.
Right.
He's not new. So I don't know, but so. I just think Axl writes the most epic songs, and here's the point I was going to make, and why these songs are so important to me, is that I think if this band had a different lead singer, if it was Guns N' Roses, it was Duff McKagan, Izzy, and Slash, and Steven, and someone else as a frontman, after Appetite for Destruction, which is like a Marshall Stack amps in the face, hard rock, ballsy, sex, drugs, rock and roll. That's what that album is. I think without that Axl ingredient to the group, I think they'd continue to be another great hard rock band. But I don't think they'd have these songs that set them apart from everybody. I think without these songs like Estranged and November Rain, they would be another Motley Crue, who I love. And people have even said the first Faster Pussycat album sounds a lot like Appetite for Destruction, and that even the image was very similar, and they came out of that same scene at the same time. But Faster Pussycat, they don't have a song that could even compare to Estranged or November Rain, and I love them. So it's these.
They're just not that band.
Yeah, these are the two songs that set them apart and put them over the top, I think, and made people notice wow, this is more than just a hard rock band. This is more than just a band that writes about pussy and violence and drugs, and because that's what Appetite for Destruction is. It is. It's the soundtrack to like a scene in a time period, and I think Axl was showing on these two particular songs that there's way more to him and way more to this band than what you think of on Appetite for Destruction.
It also shows in things that I've learned over the past 2 years from my therapist, there's a healthy way to release emotions.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I'm like, why all of a sudden within the past like couple years am I obsessed with horror movies? I have seen like easily 100 horror movies over the past like year. And my therapist goes, it's just a good way to get out your anger and frustration. I'm like, oh, so I'm not a sociopath serial killer? That's positive. It's great. So Axl's showing these healthy ways to do it in such a climate where everyone is so angry at each other that there is such a healthy way to get it out there. And there's such, having worked in terrestrial radio the majority of my career, that you just listen to some of these lyrics, especially. That's why I can't get into in today's hip hop. It's just about, look at what I got. Look at all the money I make. Look at the cars I drive.
You will be surprised that there's some stuff in the new Kanye I was like, wow, this is deep. I like it.
I'm sure there is, and I'm not going to make a sweeping statement like, rap is crap. Can't spell crap without rap. I'm not going to do that
It's so
stuff.
stupid when people say that, though, because
unless it's My World, that's a bad song.
Even if they're a rock fan, I wouldn't call My World rap, but like even if people are strictly a rock fan.
I don't know what it is.
Most of your idols, like in music, listen to hip hop. They listen to all different stuff, So.
I actually used to come out with the NWA hat.
Yeah, dude, they all love.
And it was so funny. One of the interview clips that we just played, Axl was wearing a Nirvana cap.
Yeah, which is funny.
And a Chili Peppers T-shirt. So I mean,
Isn't there also a video of them burning a Nirvana hat on stage? I remember seeing that someone posted it on my GNR forum.
Could have been part of the show prep. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
It's possible. There's a lot of things that I think we're as big of fans as we are. There are things that we're still discovering and finding out. Just like I said with that clip, I can't believe how much I identify. I identify so much with Axl. Like I never thought suicide would be a part of it. I mean, I have no idea how far he has taken it, but the fact that the thought is serious.
But it's not surprising, I feel like, with Axl, because of the stuff that he's written. The stuff he's written a lot of it comes from very sad. And
you could be depressed. What I've learned is the difference between being sad and depressed and like actual depression.
Yeah, but I feel like those songs are so deep that there's something there. There's something deeper there.
It could be just as intellectual, but obviously there's something wrong. I mean, at least there was with how angry he would get.
Oh yeah, exactly. And the storming off stage and all that. I never thought like it was the way people think. Oh, it's like a temper tantrum. Like no, I think there's mental health issues there.
Yeah, and I think that's what's helping me somewhat live in today's musical climate with the Biebers and the Kanyes, the people who do throw in Mariah Carey last night, some sort of issue. It's like there's something else going on. These are people, and it happens, I know it's happened to you with people leaving messages on SOFREP. It's happened to me with radio stations that I've worked on. People who have no idea about you other than what you say into a microphone, whether it's musically or radio or whatever, and they make this sweeping statement about you. Oh, you suck. You're an idiot. You're an asshole. You're this.
The weirdest thing I ever heard, and I always think about this, is someone once wrote a review that was like, the civilian guy on the podcast, or SOFREP, like talks way too much. He's a civilian, and yet he acts like he was in like a top tier unit of special operations. And I've heard other things where people are like, they'll say, Ian says like and all that way too much. And I'll go, you know what, that's constructive criticism. And I'll actually, I'm my biggest critic, so I notice all that stuff.
Me too.
But when I heard that particular comment, that I act like I'm in a tier 1 unit, my response, where the fuck are you getting this from? I'm not like that at all, man.
You're not Brian Williams. You're not Hillary Clinton lying about stuff.
I never think of myself as being anything important. I'm a pretty humble dude, so that was funny to me. But yeah, no, I know what you mean. Like, and it does get to you because you're putting part of your life out on the air. You're expressing part of yourself. And
it's a lot.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that I just want positive feedback, but yeah, it could weigh on you emotionally.
The two of the funniest that I got, I was doing this morning show with this guy who was married to a Jewish girl. And if you haven't
always comes up every podcast.
What do you want from me?
Good job, Jew.
Sorry, chief. That he's married to a Jewish woman, and my first thing was like, oh, I'm sorry. just joking around. I mean, I have a Jewish mother, Jewish grandparents, kind of like, hey, and then I got somebody emailed my program director being like, you have an anti-Semite on the radio? I'm like, I'm a Jew, you piece of garbage.
Yeah.
And another one was recent that it was a picture of me, and I have tattoos on my arms, and so it was in all caps. They're a Mensa member when they write their in all caps, their comment in all caps. Was that your tattoos don't make you cool? I'm like, what a fucking essay. All I could do was just laugh at that comment. Yes, I got tattoos to be cool, man. Sorry, dude. So, I mean, I can only imagine the amount of shit that Axl's gotten over the years, and the fact that he's still doing it, and whatever happened between him and Slash is behind it, and it's just awesome that they're playing. Of course, they're going to play November Rain, but Estranged is brought back into it. And what you say, they hadn't played it in a while, but DJ Ash or Bumblefoot
I think Bumblefoot played it for the first time in like 14 years. I think it was Rock in Rio or something. I'm sure people at my GNR forum and the GNR Truth. No, it's the Not in This Lifetime Facebook group
that we follow. Sure.
Yeah. They'll
say hi to us, by the way, whenever we come.
Yeah,
we're real people.
Guys. They'll correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was like Rock in Rio though, and I think it was like 14 years since they played it. So that actually always made me wonder.
You're not going to quote the song that time?
What?
14 years?
Oh yeah.
That's usually your.
I think it was around that, but what I was wondering is this: November Rain has always been a part of the Guns N' Roses set. Always, it's always been a staple.
And one of the first songs they ever wrote, even before they were GNR.
It made me wonder, why was Estranged taken out of that set? Why wasn't it a staple in their set until relatively recently, like the end of the Axl and Friends, if you will, lineup, and now this current lineup? Is it because the song was too emotional for them? Like, I'm sure it wasn't that fans didn't want to hear it. I really always wondered, so when they brought that back, I actually think when I saw Guns N' Roses with you at Roseland and they were playing Estranged, we were like, yes! Because I don't think we ever saw it live. Well, I saw it live in New Jersey, but the times before that we saw them, they weren't playing it, so it was like this big event. And I remember even there were people in the my GNR forum saying when they start playing Estranged, one of us should have like a blow-up dolphin to pass around in the audience. And someone actually did it. There's a video on YouTube of someone like passing around a dolphin.
That's brilliant.
But security takes it after a certain point. Yeah. But
thanks, Obama.
But yeah, like I don't get why that wasn't a staple of their set. I really want to know.
This clip might show a little bit into it, because right now I'm just thinking it's not going to be the same reason, but why Pearl Jam didn't play Black for a while. I think it was because it was too emotional for Eddie to want to play it. So here's Slash and Axl talking about the Estranged, I guess, arrangement.
When it was done and recorded, I was like, Ax, okay, I get credit on this for the guitar stuff. Because it was like a big part that went on top of what he'd already wrote. And I was pretty proud of it, because it's hard to write to somebody else's music.
I really was sincere about thanking him for doing that. And the work that he did on this song is really special and really special to me. And I was very appreciative of him doing that.
You see how happy they sounded? Why did they break up?
But
I'm wondering if it was the Slash tie to it, that he really did have an impact to the song. And
I was going to say also, no matter how much he says he appreciates it, if you look at the liner notes, that song still says it is solely written by Axl Rose.
Right.
So I could, there could be a little bit, Slash could be a little pissed off there that why isn't it Rose, Slash?
That could be. There's a lot of different elements to it.
I think a lot of people do feel that way, though, with what you're just saying, because they weren't playing Coma, and people feel like Coma is Slash's baby. Like, you don't play that without Slash.
And I believe I did watch an interview with Axl. It might have been that one that he did with Duff on Brazilian TV, that he did it kind of as a favor to Slash, because he knows how much he likes that song.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's that's what I like. These are all. It's not just a song. I think that's what we're trying to get to. They're not just songs.
And they're not just videos. And I think you'll never replicate these videos, because these videos are from a time where people would stay up to watch the premiere on MTV and see Guns N' Roses as a new music video. I got to see this. Like, I don't remember those in particular, but I remember when Michael Jackson put out Scream with Janet Jackson.
Is that now the most expensive video ever made?
I'd have to check. It's up there.
Yeah.
There is a list, but So I remember when he did put that out with his sister, it was a big thing on MTV. They were like, at this time, on this day, we're going to release the new Michael Jackson video, and it was a big event. And you're never going to replicate that in 2017 because we watch videos on YouTube, and it's not the same, man. Just like you don't line up at CD stores anymore for the new Guns N' Roses album, So I see you have the list there from most expensive videos of all time, and let's get into that.
It is, as I'll turn this microphone this way. No, you're right. It's Michael Jackson and Janet Scream.
Well, yeah, you said it, so you're correct. I thought you were right, though.
All right,
yeah.
so good job, me. I can't believe the next three. Like, you got to be out of control. Then we will get to some GNR.
Yeah.
The next three are all by Madonna. I mean, I don't know any of the. I mean, I remember the Express Yourself video,
of course.
But Die Another Day.
I remember Die Another Day.
Bedtime Story.
Yes, I remember that too.
Was that the one with the Matador?
Well, the song was called Bedtime Story.
I don't remember.
Was the song called Take a Bow? Where you're looking at?
Oh yeah,
it was Take a Bow, right?
Well, it says Bedtime Story, and Wikipedia is always right.
I think Bedtime Story was the album. It says the song was too.
It's a song title.
I'd have to hear it again. I think I might know it.
But when we got Michael Jackson's Black or White.
Yeah, that was a great. Well, and that also, at the time, it was revolutionary. Do you remember at the end of the video where people are morphing into different people? Do you remember that? Where they're nodding their head.
And now you can do that with Snapchat.
Yeah.
Like a super little filter.
But the part where it does, like, it's black, it's white.
I'm not going to spend my life being a color.
Yeah.
You see, like, the
it's way better than what you can do on Snapchat, though. It was really well done.
But you know what I mean.
No, I do. But
that we had the technology to do those kind of things in the palm of our hand, and at that time, even
at that time though, it was like, holy shit, this is amazing. Great video too. I love Michael Jackson.
So the one after that, so we're gonna go. Scream's number one. Madonna's the next three, and then Michael Jackson again. So that's the top five. Number 6 is Estranged. And it cost, the production value was $4 million.
Which today is probably more like $8 million.
Yeah, they said with the inflation adjustment, whatever that means. I'm not a math guy. Almost $7 million.
So that's what it would cost today.
Yeah, I mean, and that, I'm trying to think.
And then where's November Rain?
Stall them, Ian.
I know November Rain is on there.
It's down there. November Rain costs about $1.6 million.
See, I wonder how
almost 2.3 with I guess the upcharge or whatever.
I wonder how the record label felt about that, because November Rain was a massive hit. They probably had no problem with putting that money up front for that video with how big it became. But Estranged is more of like a cult classic among GNR fans. It wasn't you don't hear Estranged on our big classic rock station Q104.
I may have heard Estranged on the radio in general of the places I've lived, whether it's New York or Boston or just travels.
It's crazy also to think those songs
2 times, 3 times, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, November Rain still played.
Yeah.
Crazy.
But those songs, if they were put out today, would not be hits. That's a crazy thing to think. There's no song of that length.
The length you were about to say, which, for us guys usually may or may not be a problem.
Ask me about my wiener!
But for songs, it's a problem. And I think that was part of it. I believe, I don't know if we played that specific clip, but the original demo of November Rain, at least the piano, was 20 minutes. There's a reason why you don't hear Indigada DeVita anymore, unless it's on like some sort of like July 4th barbecue countdown, top 400 classic rock songs of all time. Indigada DeVita from Iron Butterfly,
who Slayer covered.
Did they really?
Oh yeah, you got to hear it. It's great.
I love how the first time I ever heard Iron Butterfly was on The Simpsons.
Oh really? I remember that episode.
They switched lyrics.
Yeah,
and which. Again, The Simpsons did it. Simpsons did it first recently. Your boy Tupac.
My boy.
They some church printed lyrics to Hail Mary, right?
Yep. Which is,
how do you print that on like nice gospel paper?
But it
has the N-word in it.
Yeah, Hail Mary, way worse than Inagata DeVita.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, the first line of the song is, I ain't a killer, but don't push me. Revenge is like the sweetest joy next to getting pussy. Like, you're going to put that in...
They printed it out like on this nice paper. It wasn't like, oh, I printed these lyrics by accident and you printed it off like a Wikipedia or some lyric website. They had it on their church bulletin. Oh, I'm like, what? But you're absolutely right, and it's interesting that I wasn't into Estranged as much as I guess you were. For me, I remember
I'm sorry. I gotta ask this. I know we do this interrupting thing, but no. This is what I have to ask because before I forget, which is the better video?
Let's go talk shit. Which is the better video? I think for me, just November Rain just has more of the emotional connection with me. But I guess Estranged, you could see it's November Rain on steroids. And I always say Chinese Democracy is like if you combine the illusions, and it's that on steroids.
Yeah.
So it's a step up. So if you're going to say, if it was the first time I was hearing both songs, what's the better video? November Rain's less to digest, I guess. The first time you see Estranged, you'd be like, what the hell is going on? Which a lot of people felt anyway. But I really didn't get this in depth with rock and all these feelings until I was older, until I really knew what these things were. So for a while, Estranged wasn't it for me. I enjoyed it, but it was like November Rain. But
I love them both. I mean,
but it took me a bit. I remember it was the first time I bought my first Guns N' Roses record. I knew Guns N' Roses. I just didn't have a big album collection. This is, I think, when our society was slowly going from cassette to CD. So I wanted to know what Guns N' Roses CD because I finally got my first CD player. I asked my friends, I'm like, I want to get Guns N' Roses records. So what should I get? Like, give me some songs. What do you want to hear? Of course, 90% of them are off Appetite. And I'm like, I have November Rain and this. So they tell me to get Appetite. So that was my first record. I obviously have all of them now. And I think as I got older, and those lyrics, like the one you mentioned before, as I got closer to 28, I identified with that. Yeah. Like growing up, you identify with Blink-182, when he mentions 23 and what's my age again. It's like it's interesting how just a certain lyric or time stamp or age stamp makes you connect. So now I'm 33, hear Estranged, I'm only 28. I'm like, oh, I remember when I was 28, and there are people laughing at us right now. I remember when I was in our 30s, you pieces of crap.
But when you hear it, are you like, man, when I was 28, or even now, I could never write this masterpiece of a song.
I couldn't write this masterpiece, or I'm like, I didn't have that type of love when I was 28.
Yeah. So wait, purely video. Are you saying November Rain is the better video?
What do I want to say about the video? I guess if you had to say the better video, Estranged.
Yeah.
But for me personally, what I like, just because I can visualize the November Rain video better, especially at the end with the party just going awry with the rain and just him hanging over the casket with the rain. That actually was going back to my emo roots, but knowing how Guns N' Roses was always tied into it. There was back before GIFs or GIFs were a big thing. My LiveJournal icon was an animated Axl. That clip at the end of the video was the rain falling down. That was my LiveJournal icon.
Yeah.
Do you remember what LiveJournal was?
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course. And I remember Zanga. That was similar.
Yeah. So that's what I guess I identify more with. Sorry, I have a hairball. That's what I identify with more. But I guess, Money Talks, Estranged is up there. I mean, I remember Ricky Rackman really going hard at him when they started introducing the Dolphins. And that's when they supposedly jumped, maybe not the shark, but the dolphin. See, as a band.
I love both the videos so much. They're both so great. And in my head, when I asked this question, I was originally going to say Estranged, and I was thinking of because I love everything about the video, but I love that it also incorporates the live shot of them in the stadium, Axl in the Charles Manson shirt.
Sure.
Where, and the slow motion. It's just like a very emotional part. And like, to me, it shows the pinnacle of this group at the height of their success. But then I was thinking about in November Rain, I equally love Slash outside the church doing the solo with the helicopters flying over. Like, that's an amazing shot.
An iconic.
Yeah.
Just think about that. With music videos, an iconic, not just videos, but scenes. That is an iconic scene within the actual video. You're going to remember Thriller. People that are scoring touchdowns as we record this on a Sunday. Well, I think Odell Beckham does this. Are you a Giants fan, by the way?
I don't watch football
all right,
at all.
Because one day you'll turn into a man. Odell Beckham, the wide receiver for the New York Giants, he'll do the Thriller dance.
Nice.
So, these are things that are still iconic. Vogue had a Vogue.
Yeah.
But Slash outside that church in the middle of nowhere, I believe they had to fly in that church too. And what they didn't just find it. It's an icon of rock and the music video itself. And now it's very hard for a video to go viral unless you're somebody like OK Go, where you do something really that's unconventional. I don't know.
Back then you didn't go viral. Just MTV played it a lot. There was no such thing as going viral. So it was just a totally different atmosphere. It was just going viral is, I guess, the equivalent to back then was that MTV just played your stuff constantly. And, it was a different time period. Like now we get to decide what the big thing is, but it just doesn't have the same impact. Everybody's listening to and watching their own stuff. So there's... in the early 90s, everybody saw the November Rain video, and everybody saw, I think the Estranged video wasn't played quite as much, but even today, everybody's seen the November Rain video. I think that's at least our age range.
Yeah, and I still think, and as we discussed, Axl and Slash are iconic, not just musically, but visually, and just as the people who they were. If they had died in 2016, they would be in uproar just like with everybody else. But for me, also, and I realize that's a crutch of mine. I always say for me, so I got to stop doing that. So I also acknowledge my crutches.
We all do.
I love Garden of Eden, and that's just a simple fisheye lens shot.
Yeah.
And that's just a very simple. I can't think of a better, more appropriate word for that. So it's not the going crazy. You have to jump off an aircraft carrier and swim with dolphins. You can just have Teddy Zigzag rocking out in the background. I don't care. I enjoy all of it. I like the spectrum of it because I'm the same way. That's why I've always identified with this band. But that's why we all were, as Guns N' Roses fans, we were hoping for that better video. What is the new Axl Rose going to do with the video in today's world? You can see what Metallica did with it as they released a video for every single one of their songs off their new record.
I haven't watched them all. I've only watched 2 of them, I think.
I've watched, I guess, a few of them, but not. Some of them are great. Some of them are just generic videos. But what would Axl Rose do with the videos? I thought Velvet Revolver did some cool video. I saw the videos. I thought the video for Dirty Little Thing, which was cartoon, but it was cool. What they can do with it, and I think November Rain. Why for me set the bar for everything, and why I can't. It's just the pinnacle of everything. It's my inspiration for my first tattoo is that it can set the bar for everything of a bar that may not even exist anymore. To be able to write a long and epic song, Metallica can get away with it. Writing the 6-7 minute songs in their last record, because unfortunately, radio doesn't play it too much. I mean, their longer songs in the past have been around for so while, they can play it. That's why you can still play Won't Get Fooled Again. You can still play these longer classic rock songs because they're classic rock. It's fine.
This album also was not made for radio, the new Metallica.
No, it's not. But
because they could have put out a song that would be played on radio, I think, but they just chose not to.
No, and that's they were always that kind of band, and I think that's what gained them their initial following.
They were, except like the Load era. Like Hero of the Day. That was definitely a song made for radio.
Oh, well, their first video, I believe, was for One, and that was still a hard song. Towards the end at least. Mm-hmm. But I remember, I think it was an interview with James Hetfield during when VH1 they had the behind the music saying that he remembered a fan going up to him and spitting on him because it's like they sold out because they made a video.
And I think they had a live video for Fade to Black, but it wasn't full
and not even consider those videos. Those are just, I use that as a visual promotional tool.
Yeah.
For it. So with these, and just where Axl has progressed, you have this epic video in November Rain. You have this epic video ×2 in Estranged. What's next? They're not going to make a video for Chinese Democracy at this point.
No. Even though, do you remember the interview Axl did with Eddie Trunk?
There were a couple. Which one? That Metal Show on Q104?
Yeah, That Metal Show, and it was, that's true, That Metal Show, and it was the one that DJ Ashba was there.
Yeah, we barely spoke.
Yeah, you could tell Axl just wanted DJ Ashba there, and they're like, fine.
Yeah.
And I think they asked him one question. But
just be my swing buddy.
The strange thing about that interview is that interview was many years after Chinese Democracy came out. and Eddie asked him something about videos for Chinese Democracy, like why didn't these come out, and Axl was like, yeah, I was just waiting to feel out how the audience would like these songs, but he made it sound like the videos were coming. And it was like 5 years after the fact or whatever, you're going to put out a music video.
They are
so
rumors.
Axl's mind just works kind of. It doesn't work like ours.
No, it doesn't. Yeah. That we can certainly agree upon.
But I wouldn't. Hey, if they want to put out a video for anything, I'm not going to complain.
I remember going on my GNR forum daily because we thought we were going to get the better video.
Yeah,
like it's coming out this Tuesday. It's coming out then, and obviously it never came out. There's some really good fan videos out there. That I think are worth checking out, but. It's just, this is the song. I want to play something another club Slash talking about.
Yeah, I was going to say go for it because I don't know if you realized this. I took you completely off track. I don't know. You were going to say something and then I was like, Estranged versus November Rain. Which do you like better? So I took you off track. I apologize.
It doesn't take much. I took my medication today, so it's enough.
When Guns have been together.
Oh, before we go into this was because it's an interesting piece towards the end. I find funny in what Slash says. But the main crux of it, Slash was asked about November Rain, and this was maybe like 5 years ago or so. This is a Guitar Center kind of interview in one of their stores, so that's what this is.
When Guns had been together for a while, Axl had this piano music that he'd been working on, and it was this, I think it was like over 10-minute epic on piano. And at one point, we went into Sound City and started doing some demos for Appetite with Manny Charleston from Nazareth. He was going to produce it.
Oh, yeah.
And so we did all the songs that we had up to that point, and then Axl started playing November Rain. And I remember the way the song spoke to me, the guitar parts just came natural, and we did a rough version of that song, albeit 20 minutes long, but a rough version of that song, and then didn't come back around to doing on record until we did the Use Your Illusions record some 4 years later or something like that. And after all that time, the song still spoke the same way, and that solo is pretty much note for note the same from the first time I played it to the time we recorded it.
This is where it gets weird.
I don't know what they want. Oh shit, I'm not going to play it. I'd embarrass myself. I haven't played that song in a long time.
Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
I haven't played this song in a long time. Talking about November Rain, somebody we talk about, we identify playing the solo outside the church. I joke. One of my friends was making fun of me when we finally got to see them. He was like, "Are you going to cry when Slash gets on top of the piano and starts rocking out to November Rain?"
I think I said that.
I think as I was saying that, I'm like, "Didn't you say that?" I was like thinking to myself, "I think you said that in a previous podcast." No, I ain't cry.
Well, yeah, but he didn't hop on the piano.
I know he didn't. I probably would have cried. But it's just the emotional attachment that both of these bands or both of these guys have, Axl and Slash, one lyrically, one that those are his lyrics.
Yeah.
Those solos are his lyrics. And that's another thing that I take away from this band, where with Metallica, where are the solos? I think we discussed there's nothing about Kirk's solos, at least on the last record, that really started out to me. What Slash does, I'm listening to his solo stuff, I'm listening to stuff with Velvet, it stands out. Listen to stuff on Chinese Democracy with Axl without Slash, for whatever reason, a lot of the lyrics just stick out and stand out, and you identify with it. And this is just a healthy release. Yeah, that it's just, for such an unhealthy band. It's just insane.
What's crazy about that clip too is to think that they had these songs, or at least rough drafts of these songs, in the can prior to Use Your Illusions, and in some cases, I've seen Illusions, as in both albums, I should say. Use Your Illusion 1 and 2.
I know what you mean. And, we all know.
And they had it in the can, during like the Appetite for Destruction era, in some cases before Appetite for Destruction was done. So I guess that, I think Axl in particular had this grand plan in his head of hey, we're going to put out this album that's hard rocking, that's, as I said, amps in the face, and it's going to get people on board, and then we're going to show them, hey, we're deeper than this. We could do more than just this. So I think I think there was a method to the madness in that sense.
I was looking to see the band's reaction to some of these deaths that we had last year, because a lot of them We mentioned before Duff with Prince, and you mentioned the piano thing.
I think there's a lot of Elton John influence. I know that's not
right,
a death, but
but I mean, I was going to jump off that, and you mentioned, not you mentioned, but George Michael, how he passed away, and Axl, only tweets about important things, like Taco Bell. He put out a Rip George. So it's the people who are dying, who may not be in the rock world or in the hard rock world, who these guys are acknowledging, who influenced the style of writing that these guys are putting out there. That's why November Rain, it's always going to be the top for me, especially after hearing. And I found this clip after we decided we were going to do this episode. I'm like, wow, there's some sort of subconscious attachment that I had to this song. That's insane to me. And now it's so weird too, after hearing those clips about Estranged. As I've gotten older, I find myself listening to Estranged more. It's very weird how that's worked out, because that's how it worked out for him.
Yeah.
So I want to know what the third is technically for him. There has to be. Whether it's This I Love, if there is.
Oh, I would say Prostitute.
You would say Prostitute,
Yeah.
not This I Love?
No, because I think Prostitute is more in the vein of these songs.
Yeah. I mean, it could be lyrically too. He could
Yeah.
just want to go back and strip it down.
Yeah.
I mean, either way, I like the direction. I'm hoping 2017 brings us new Guns N' Roses music.
Yeah, I want to hear it so badly.
I can't imagine what these guys could do at this age, where a lot of bands at this age, we've talked about Motley Crue, that last record, Saints of Los Angeles, was that their last record?
Yeah, I like 3 songs on it, though. But to be fair, it was really written by the guys in 6 a.m., including DJ Ash. But
right.
it was those guys hate each other. Like, they're pretty open about it at this point. So
Yeah.
I don't think they were able to, stay in a studio together and write.
But that might not have been the best example, but when you have bands that come out and put out new music, like Def Leppard put out new music, I don't give a shit. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to interview not Joe Elliott. My God, I interviewed him too. The guitarist. Phil Collin, yes. Colin, not Phil Collins.
Well, next time you have him on, I'll be sure to play that clip. I'll isolate what you just said.
Thank you. That I think they're, he was a great dude, but
Yeah.
I just have no interest in hearing new Def Leppard, because it's not going to be. There's no growth, and as we grow from age to age, as we grow from year to year, this band now, which was in some sort of limbo state for a long time, for decades, but there was always some sort of growth. I mean, you saw it with all of them.
Yeah.
So that's why I like the fact that they're comparable. That it's not. I mean, you could do a literal The Unforgiven, The Unforgiven 2, The Unforgiven 3. You could do that. I thought The Unforgiven 3 was awesome, by the way, off Death Magnetic. It's one of my favorite tracks off that record. So you could do that. But the fact that this is so personal to him, and he's talking about, I mean, I don't know what divorce is like. I mean, he's never been married. I think it really screwed him up. And I had no idea with his potential stepson how much that screwed him up. And that coming off his past family life. I don't have that kind of family life, but I can identify with the feeling of hopelessness and all these things. So that's why it's great that you can have that. What did he say in the Live Era records? Oh, here's a nice, pretty song about a walk in the park. Here, if you want to come in, Harry Carey.
Yeah.
It's a nice, happy song, kind of like a walk in the park. Sun coming through your window in the morning, and it's a beautiful day, and you've got nothing better to do than commit Harry Carey. So. Oh, you're into that, all right.
And then they can just go to a rockin' tune like "It's So Easy" about banging chicks.
Yeah,
they could do it, because
Yeah,
I don't want to live in that. I don't want to live in this.
I never go to a Guns N' Roses show and don't feel celebratory. And that kind of goes into my love of 80s hair metal. It's fun, celebratory music, but yeah, they have the tracks that aren't celebratory. But I've become friends with Aaron Lewis from Stained, great guy. But I've said before, if I were to listen to those songs constantly, I would want to shoot myself. And it's not in a bad way. They're great songs. And actually, the way Aaron sings them are so emotional that they speak to me so much, but I just can't listen to them all the time. It would put me in a bad mood.
I think that's what we were talking about before, how, you have random things come up on your iPod, and I've been listening to a lot more Pandora, because I can't hear Chuck Berry or B.B. King on the radio, but it's still getting my GNR fix and having a lot of these pop punk bands come up. And it's like, wow, I was a really a real emo piece of crap. Like, just girls are evil. They hurt my feelings, and I just don't identify with that anymore. And I can't listen to that track after track after track like I used to all the time. I can put on. I mean, I can't listen to it anymore. But like Dashboard Confessional, like I just can't listen to Dashboard anymore because I'm just not in that place. But this is such a mature, I think, a way of doing it. I'm not to say that relationship issues aren't mature, because clearly he's talking about a relationship here, but it's on a different level than somebody from like an Atari song.
I also don't think there'll ever be a long time period where Guns N' Roses are not in rotation for me, because whether I'm in a Appetite mood for a few months or I'm in a Chinese Democracy mood, like it's just they're so versatile. And I don't know, man. Like, as you say,
where you are in your life, because I'm talking about like where I am in your life, and you're versatile, and where you matured or not. Where another reason why we became friends. You mentioned how last night you celebrated New Year's Eve. I'm playing Nintendo 64, and what else you were doing that you said just like you're still a kid watching old school Ninja Turtle stuff and
eating Dominoes.
That's what I do. I mean, I watched the new Ninja Turtles cartoon, which is phenomenal, by the way. So I'm the same. So we still have a core of who we are.
Yeah.
This band still has their core. They haven't changed. They haven't sold out, in my opinion. So, but where have you
They
gone?
haven't sold out by doing these packages that are, what is it, like the Paradise City package?
Yeah, you don't even meet the band.
Yeah.
But I guess that's another story for another episode.
You can call that selling out.
They, I guess, sold out musically, I guess.
Yeah, I agree.
They haven't.
And I'm also just screwing around. I mean, I'm a capitalist. I don't care.
Well, I've been talking about where they haven't, like Sugar Ray. Like Sugar Ray used to be like a hardcore heavy metal band.
Oh, yeah.
And next thing they're singing about Every Morning and I Want to Fly. Or I'm trying to think. Maroon 5. They were a hardcore rock band.
They were?
Yeah, man.
I didn't know that.
My buddy saw them. It was called the Vanderbilt out here. I think in Plainview, and now it's like not terrarium, obviously planetarium or something. Planetarium, if you're a South Park fan.
Love that episode.
I'm so glad you get my stupid references. Yeah. I just lost my fucking train of thought.
All right, Maroon 5.
Thank you. God damn it.
Band.
Stop doing drugs, kids. That he saw Maroon 5 at this place before they were
Vanderbilt,
anything. Yeah, at the Vanderbilt. So, I mean, that was years ago. So, I mean, there are bands.
They were heavy, though?
Yeah.
Really? Wow.
They were called something different, too.
Oh, okay. See, and the thing is, if you listen to Maroon 5 now, I don't even consider it a band. It's basically like
Adam Levine.
It's Adam Levine's solo project, because there's songs I listen to where I'm like, where are the drums in this? Because it sounds programmed. I'm like, where's the guitar riff? It sounds like Demi Lovato or something.
That's something else, too, that is very rare, and I think I want to see what 2017 brings for rock, because there are a lot of guys out there, whether it's the Dee Snyders, the Gene Simmonses, talking about the state of rock, where it's at. Is it alive? Is it changing? Is it dead? Whatever opinion you have, that you'll have a band. We mentioned Maroon 5, or we can go back a little bit more the rock genre at the time. No doubt, how they just wanted it to be about Gwen Stefani. That was part of the band's issues at the beginning. With Axl, and you'll look at certain bands where they make it, male front bands, they'll make it about just the lead singer. And today, it's so hard to have a group. I mean, what do you think about the band 21 Pilots?
I don't know anything by them.
I mean, they're all over the radio.
Okay.
It's just two dudes. They're from Ohio. I think they were a bigger band. It's kind of like a hip-hop rock kind of thing. I'm sure
don't know. Okay.
The majority of the world knows about 21 Pilots. It's just
see, this is you saying I keep up on stuff.
I know.
I don't, man.
I don't know. I have younger brothers.
But you also work in rock radio.
But I
have worked in rock radio.
But I don't know like the names of it. So it's either you know the band or you know the members.
Mm-hmm.
It's so I don't know. GNR just has that unique of Guns N' Roses, Axl Rose, Slash, know what they look like. Things that they've done. Do all of those elements exist today for any band? That's what I want. That's what I want to see happen in this new year. Other than Guns N' Roses continuing a successful tour, staying together, hopefully new music, and some sort of rock revolution. Like I want that to happen.
I am rock and roll.
That's what I want.
As strange as it is, I'm very content going to see like my '80s bands that I love, and
they're not always going to be there, like you said.
Yeah, I know that is true.
Who's the next? That's why I loved Hailstorm so much.
Yeah,
that's why I love my friends, the New York band Midnight Mob. It's like I haven't
good. Yeah,
seen a young band that has everything that I feel like Guns N' Roses has, and that doesn't happen anymore. I mean, part of it is radio's fault. I'm not going to fault the iHeart rock station in the building. Of course not, because it's classic,
also just what's big.
It's a classic rock station. That's what it's for. But some of the younger stations, they just, I don't know, they don't find the right thing, or it's what the fans want. It's just one song and they're out.
But bro,
it's
like
so, and you said bro.
Yeah. Well, I went to I went to that EDM show because of my friend who's a photographer, and he photographs for I think they're called Seven Lions, or he's called Seven Lions. So I went to that in November. I think I mentioned it on the podcast, and like that is what kids are listening to. I had a great time at the show, by the way, but that's what they're listening to. They're listening to, and they're going to shows of a guy on a laptop, and these crazy light shows and crazy, but. I'm really not dissing it because I had a great time. It's not necessarily my thing, but the kids that would have been listening to rock and roll however many years ago are now listening to EDM, electronic dance music. That's what they like.
My younger brothers listen to. I mean, I have 3, but it's primarily the ones that are 20 and 25 that are listening to the EDM. To the EDM. Holy shit, I am old. And that's what I thought was pretty brilliant on Axl. I mean, assuming it was his decision. I mean, I'm glad that Lenny Kravitz opened when we saw them, but having somebody like Skrillex and
apparently went over good.
A lot, country acts. Their shows they're doing in Japan. Baby Metal is opening. I would love to see Baby Metal. So I think that's important. Now that the supposed talks of the Skid Row reunion have died down, and of course we've talked about that would be a great tour.
Oh yeah,
the world. But I think it's showing how smart this band is. I think it's saying, hey, you know what? You're gonna like our music. Come here, but we're attached to what's going on now. And you see that a lot with Duff. He's always tweeting out pictures of what's on his iPod, and it's all over the place.
Yeah,
I really like that. What are they listening to?
And
they're the same as us.
Yeah, and he's up on newer music because of his daughter, who's now doing her own music.
He has a couple daughters, but one of them is doing music.
Yeah, he has an older daughter who's and the cool thing is I've heard him talk about it. Like she's playing these small venues in places like Brooklyn, where you'd see, and he's going out to see her. So if you go to see his daughter's show, it's possible you'll see Duff McKagan in the crowd.
We got to go.
His daughter.
We got to go. If she plays Brooklyn
just
Bowl,
for that reason,
just to perhaps run into Duff.
I don't even think they're playing places like Brooklyn Bowl. I think they're playing like really small venues, because she's unestablished right now, and she's not getting help from her daddy necessarily. She's doing it on her own. I mean, I'm sure they're helping her a little bit financially, but she's not getting like they're not opening for Guns N' Roses. They're not getting that big push. I think she's just doing her own thing and not trying to make it on her father's merit.
And I respect that completely.
Yeah.
And that's why I want to know, now that it's kind of a family atmosphere in the Guns N' Roses camp, at least with Slash and with Duff and maybe with Melissa and Frank acting like little kids every now and then, which I enjoy, with some of the stuff that they post on their social media. Where's Axl now mentally, and especially going off the November Rain thing? I mean, obviously that's many years ago.
Yeah.
But I have to imagine that still bothers him to some degree.
I think
he's in his 50s, isn't he? He's got, I mean, not like it's, I'm sure, I know marriage isn't for everybody, kids are for everybody, but it seems like that's what he wanted.
I could be wrong on this, but I think he's also the only member of the band of those core guys who's not sober. I think he still drinks. I've seen pictures of him, with the bartending and all that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's like a drunk.
No, but I think he's still, and you see him on stage with like the red Solo cup in hand, which I'm pretty sure he's partaking in an adult beverage. So I think he's the only guy in the band who still drinks and that type of thing. And if I had to guess, and a lot of this is speculation, I think he still goes out and parties, unlike the other members.
Yeah, I mean, I know Frank Ferrara has, he's always posting pictures with him and his daughter, so I know he has responsibilities.
Yeah.
Richard Fortas, I mean, I don't know how he takes away. I mean, he just got married also, by the way.
I didn't know that.
Mazel tov to Richard. But he, I mean, when he's not performing, he has to be working out. The guy has like, if he's using like 7-minute abs or whatever it is. Remember that from Something About Mary? 7-minute abs. All right, all right, fine. You'll get some references and you won't get some others. That'll make me look like an idiot. It's fine.
No, the audience gets it, though.
I'm sure they, hopefully they do.
7-minute abs.
So I guess that's where we're at, unless you wanted to add something about, because as we're approaching the end of our episode of November Rain versus Estranged, and what we kind of want out of 2017, out of this band. I want to see a continued tour, successful. I would like to see them come close to us again. You know, obviously they're hitting a lot of the markets, which are making a lot of other Guns N' Roses fans happy. But I'm selfish. I want to be as close as I was for Axl DC. What's in store for AC/DC in 2017? Because now there are rumors of Brian Johnson working with Phil Rudd. Remember the now infamous former drummer of AC/DC who hired a hitman to kill his manager? Yeah, who said he doesn't want to work with Axl? Hey, maybe Axl doesn't want to work with you, killer? So what's going to happen with Axl and AC/DC in 2017? But for me, yes, again, that's my crutch. I think I want to make this podcast a resolution to continue with it and see where we can go with it, because we have discussions, of course, before we crack open the mics, and we're both kind of amazed and humbled about the reception that we've gotten. Please continue to leave us reviews on iTunes. That's how we can get ranked and get noticed, and not for selfish reasons, but to provide you with more things. You know, we've been lucky that we've been able to get on people like Vicky Hamilton and Charlie Benanti and Art Tavana so early in this podcast. So we want to see what else we can do to bring to you, not just like stupid little sound clips within the show.
What's up, Jew?
Shut up.
We have like a short list of other people that we think will come on, and there's a lot in mind. We actually could have gotten someone on for this episode, but I was like, you know what? I kind of want to do a solo episode like this where we discuss just different songs in particular. But yeah, I could name them all, but there's a lot of people we're thinking of getting on.
Well, what I like, because we've reached out, and I like the acknowledgement, because Dave Kushner seems to be pretty active on Twitter, and I just put out there, it was like some Velvet Revolver anniversary, and I said, "What's your favorite song?" And I tagged him in it, and he said, "Get Out the Door." And I was like, whoa, that's on the second record. Okay. And I thought that was pretty cool. And Matt Sorum has retweeted us a couple times. So it's nice to be acknowledged. I like how Del James acknowledged one of our Trump tweets. Yeah. Maybe we can get him on to talk some politics.
I would love to.
That might be an interesting. I'm sure he might want to talk about that. Yeah. Because he's very vocal anti-Trump, is Del James. So there's a lot of people we want to reach out to. Or, of course, we're going to get on our buddy Art Tavana again. And just see who is out there. I want to get our first guest on again.
Oh,
your buddy Jason Schultz.
Yeah. Who? By the way, just had a kid. Congratulations.
Oh, mazel tov, Jason. Yes, guys. I see him out there. He also did some, and he got press. Because he's a photographer, and that's why we had him on. He's
great photographer.
Well, he's done with solo and with the band with Guns N' Roses. But he has this expose now of serial killers, famous like Freddy and Jason doing the daily things like shopping and sitting at a Starbucks. It's pretty awesome. So if you want hear the interview with Jason Schultz, that's the very first episode, which you could find on the iHeartRadio app or on iTunes, however you're listening to this. I want to let you know in case you're listening on SoundCloud or whatever. We want you to go to the right places. We want to support what they're doing because they support us, and we're all Guns N' Roses fans. I think that's where I'm going to this. There's the method to the madness, where we wanted to do an episode where you learn more about us, because what I find cool is that when you guys tweet at us, when you Facebook message us, we learn about you. Hey, I remember this song. I see messages like, hey, you're making me feel old. when you talk about how you guys feel old because this person's in his 50s. Hey, you know what? I'm going to, make the kids breakfast while I'm listening to your new episodes. We got a tweet from somebody. I'm like, oh, that's so cool. This everyday stuff that they're doing. Why? So I want you to learn more about us. We want to learn more about you. If there's any questions you want answered, what do you think about this? Suggestions you want us to do for future episodes, please let us know. We're very accessible. This was just a cool episode to talk about just the music itself and kind of take a little bit of a breather from the news of Guns N' Roses, which is funny to say because there was a period of time where the news was there might be news, but there really wasn't anything. But other than the what seems to be like the weekly article from Blabbermouth about DJ Ashba talking about the good old GNR days.
Yeah.
There hasn't been too much going on.
No, the news is that they're still on the road.
Still on the road.
I can't believe how long they're going with barely any breaks. Like, I don't know how they're doing it.
Especially with Axl with doing AC/DC. That is insane. He can take 2017 off. I mean, don't do that, Axl.
Yeah, I'd feel fine with it. But yeah.
But the fact that he's doing that, I think, is incredible. And I'm feeling like this is going to be a good year. Now that we know we have a template for what this band is capable of for the reunion, and we've seen it, now we kind of get to enjoy the ride a little bit, where a lot of it was just so, it was angst and eager, and oh my God, the anticipation. So I think it was kind of like when you're a virgin. Oh my God, what's sex going to be like? Is she going to like it? This, all these things. And now that you had it, now it's like, all right, now I can get to enjoy it. Oh, well, I guess it's not a fact of just getting it laid, and now it's a fact of actually going out and seeing a concert. If you want to keep that comparison, which was a weird one. Now that I'm saying it out loud, so I'm just looking forward to 2017. What about you, Ian? As I can finish.
I echo everything you said. The only other thing that I have in store that I was thinking about was I was going to say to you, I was in my head thinking of doing a Facebook Live on Appetite for Distortion just about hair metal in general. I was thinking of just doing my own Facebook Live on the page. As long as you think that's cool. My love of hair metal and what made me think of it.
Wait, you want to do a solo project for Facebook Live?
I think it'd be cool if you do one, I do one, because but what made me think of this one in particular and why I want to do it was I mentioned it on the podcast was that at the Sebastian Bach concert, I think I talked about this, I was wearing a Dokken hoodie. And some guy came up to me, and we started talking about Dokken, and then he said, man, how old are you? And I said, I was 30. He's like, dude, how did you even get into this type of music? And so I'd like to do a Facebook Live, and maybe I'll do it this week or next week, when I'm free, about why I got into this music and why I still love this music and why I gravitate towards it. And I think I should put it on the Appetite for Distortion as opposed to mine, because I think our audience likes that type of stuff, and I still do, in a sense, think of Guns N' Roses in that genre. They are the Sunset Strip. They are from that whole scene. So those are my plans.
Yeah, we should start doing more of that too, because we're both eager. We want to crank out more of these episodes. It's just life gets in the way. Thankfully, we haven't had a Chinese democracy kind of waiting period in between episodes.
No, a month was the biggest.
It's just trying to give our new friends. I prefer calling them you that as opposed to listeners. Our new friends, just more content. What do you want to see? What entertainment value do you want to see? Just let us know. This is our podcast. That's how we want to build this, and I think that's pretty cool. As I mentioned on the last episode, we want Guns N' Roses to kind of be the nucleus of our world, and it's a large world. So it's just the nucleus. There's a lot of stuff going around it, whether it's musical or otherwise. So, all right. So I'm glad both of our New Year's resolutions seem to involve this podcast. So we hope to have a really good year for Appetite for Distortion.
Yeah. And I'll throw out one last thing. Shout out to my friend who I'd like to get on here soon, Mark Slaughter from Slaughter, of course, who just put out a song with I think it's one of the girls from Vixen. They're working on a small project, and it's called Killmister in honor of Lemmy.
Sure.
A year since he passed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So let's say Rip Lemmy, of course. Slash put a bunch of stuff out there.
Yeah.
And they toured back in the early '90s, Motorhead and Guns N' Roses, and can't believe it's been a year.
So this song Mark put out, I really am enjoying, and because I'm a friend of Mark, he was like, "Hey, you can't play this, but let me send you a little something else." And it's from like another project that he's working on, and he put out a solo album more recently, and it was a little lighter. It was some of it almost had some electronic vibe going on to it a little bit. I can't even describe it, but it didn't sound like Slaughter. It sounded like his own thing. And these songs sound a little bit more old school hard rock Slaughter. And so yeah, check out Killmister on iTunes from Mark Slaughter. And it's one of the girls from Vixen. It's cool, man, and I want to get Mark on the podcast because he is a great guy, man. He's got great stories. I'm sure he's got a Guns N' Roses story.
Yeah, absolutely.
Somewhere.
And we want to get on our mutual friend Raven from Sirius. She's on the new Talk Music channel, Volume, right?
Yeah, I want to get on Rachel Lauren.
Wait, what do you mean? Say that again.
I want to get on Rachel Lauren.
Showing.
She's great. And
you were so happy because she opened up for Sebastian Bach, and when she followed us or she responded to your tweet, you were, look at you.
No, I want to get her on. I want to get her on.
Fresh-faced little prepubescent boy. No,
she's younger than me, dude. You're much younger. She's like 21, 20.
I don't know. Respect her.
Yeah.
She's not just a pretty face.
Oh, no, she's got a great voice. She really does.
Stop looking at her throat.
I also want to get on. I'm trying to think of all. I mean, Carla from Butcher Babies wants to come on. We'll get her on soon.
Yes.
It's just there's so many people that we're looking at to come on. So we'll make it all happen.
It's a bit overwhelming, but it's a good overwhelming.
It is, because with Sofrip, I get like, you got to get this guy on, you got to get this guy on, and I have to like remind people, hey, for that podcast, we just do it once a week, like, and we normally have one interview that week if we even have one. So with this, it's every other week usually, and there's only so many people we could have on, so it's like prioritizing who are we going to get on. So
yeah,
we'll make it happen.
We'll try to do more Facebook Lives, maybe do some videos. Maybe we'll do a Facebook Live of talk about the Ninja Turtles. I want to get into, see if we can do instead of like making a murderer, because it's not, nobody died, but a documentary, which probably would have been the better word to start this off with. Is there any truth to that Ninja Turtle Secret of the Ooze Axel being late?
That'd be cool.
Story. How do we? That's going to be Art Tavana's new project. I'm going to get him on that. If he could stalk Izzy, we can. He's the guy to be. He could be our PI, our GNR PI.
Nice.
You got it.
Yeah.
All right. I just wanted to end this podcast awkwardly. So we appreciate you listening to episode 13, right?
I
Lucky
lost
13
track
of Appetite for Distortion. We really appreciate all the listens that we've been getting. I mean, it's been astounding, and we can't wait to see what the new year brings. Please subscribe to us on iTunes. Leave us a review. Also, subscribe to us on iHeartRadio because we're broadcasting from Tribeca, New York City, just a few miles away from the Freedom Tower. So if iHeartRadio sees that you're listening to us, they're going to support us, and that's pretty cool when you're surrounded by that kind of support. So it's all a big circle jerk of support. That's a good way to end the episode. So Appetite for Distortion. Again, follow us on at the AFD Show on Facebook and Twitter. I'm Brando. Anything else to say, my dear Ian?
I've said it all.
All right, he has said it all. So we will see you next time when, I don't know, the words of Axl Rose concerning Chinese democracy. I don't know if soon is the word, but you'll see it.
You've been listening to the distorted minds of Brando and Scotto, dissecting all things Guns N' Roses on Appetite for Distortion. Follow the guys on Twitter at The AFD Show and on Facebook at facebook.com/The AFD Show.
Thanks to the lame ass security, I'm going home.